here and we're live. We got things in the works where we're going to be bringing out better and better stuff, bigger and better stuff. One of the things is going to be showing you the efficiency and the effectiveness of some of your techniques, maybe, and maybe find out if they're not as effective as you thought. Or you might see something you thought, oh, I never thought of that. So, and we're going to see it all via our new sensei, UFC sensei, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, I'm just throwing it out there. Right now, guys, we want you to know if you have a black belt wrapped around your waist, or if you have it at home, wherever you have it, it has an expiration date. I'm just telling you. You know, I know you worked hard for that belt, but I'll tell you what, a doctor works really hard for his medical degree. But guess what? If he doesn't put in the time every single year and study and evolve and get to learn his trade better and then be tested on it, he loses his license. So he went to school for 20 plus years, but he's not going to be able to practice medicine anymore if he doesn't continually, not just once, but at every 2 years, doctors every 3 years, if he doesn't have that's ongoing education, he loses his license. So does a nurse has to redo her license every 2 years, and she has to prove that she has at least 30 hours of ongoing continuing education, and and there's a test to go along with it. So if you're a physical therapist, if you're a police officer, if you're a lawyer, all of these professions took you a long time to get to, but even while you're there, you still have to keep evolving, getting educated, and if you don't, you lose it. You could go around telling everybody, "Hey, I got my medical degree," and they want to see the license. What is that in the background? It's like scratching.
Oh, no, easy. Is
What
that
was that?
better?
Yeah.
That's
What
my.
was
I
that?
have a fan. I have a
Oh,
fan.
so
That's a fan. Sorry.
you got a lot of fans, I bet.
Yeah, it's hot.
Oh, that kind of fan. I thought it was like fans in the back going,
No,
"Hey!"
no, no. I already shut down my. I shut down my OnlyFans a while ago, and I was getting out of hand.
Often had no fucking party. Yeah.
What was that
So
called?
yeah, yeah. So my point is, if you're a black belt, you trained really hard for it and you tested for it. But why should you, in say 10 years, you've been a black belt and you've never taken a test, another test? You've never you've never had to learn new things about martial arts. You've never had to prove that you learned new things about martial arts. You haven't had to take a physical test, right? But you still wear your black belt. That's not right. I don't think that's right. And our system, you're going to have to um, continually evolve, continually get better, continually keep learning, and you're going to have to take physical fitness tests too, because it's fucking important. That's why. And you shouldn't be walking around with a black belt if you're not really a black belt anymore. You need to keep educating, and you have to keep evolving as a martial artist. So, what do you guys think about that?
Well,
Hey,
we have some comments here. Hello, Brian. We'll start with that. And Zen says, I never got promoted to black belt. Around the world in 80 days. Says hello. Brian says, a friend trained in Kaju Kembo. Someone, and they often had a promotion party for everyone getting promoted. And this was common when you were coming up. Um, I think I'm gonna have to translate this. Black belt annual retakes in a lot of systems. Okay, So far,
Never heard of that. I'd never heard of one.
yeah. Well, speaking from the because we've talked about this before. We're both Kaji Kembo, but different people, different Kaji Kembo guys have different ways of doing stuff. At our school, it was unsaid that every time a black belt tested, everyone is going to be a part of that test. So if you are a part of the black belt test, which you have to be present for, right?
Huh?
Um, and the person testing is going to be put through the grinder. You're essentially being put through the grinder too, right? And I remember one of the tests we went to, one of the guys, he took a long break. He went off, went snowboarding in Colorado, and was really enjoying his time as a snowboard instructor. And he came back and didn't he did snowboarding, but I don't think he did much martial arts training. And came into one of those black belt tests to test one of the people coming up as a brown belt, and he ended up getting rocked. And he turned around and looked at us and said, "I didn't know we were going full contact." We both looked at him and said, "It's a black belt test. What did you think you were here for?" So, like, I mean, I know that comes more from the old school background where we rock each other, and I know things have changed since then for some schools. But the idea that if you have a black belt, you're still going to be a part of it. And I think there has always been this distinction between active and inactive black belts. I guess you can say that. What do you consider an active or inactive black belt? What do you look at that as?
Well, there. I mean, there's they are, but then I think it has to be systemized where it's in writing. Like you said during your black belt test, a lot of people jump in and they're part of the black belt test, and that's great. But like would you want to go to a doctor that said, well, every time they take a medical test, yeah, I test with them. Nothing's written down or proven or certified, but I did, I take it, you know what I mean? So it to me, I think a lot of my black belts come up for all black belt testing, and they do take part. But what I'm thinking more is it's gonna be it's gonna be like you're gonna I mean it's gonna you're gonna have to show something. You know what I mean? It's gonna have to be something that it's gonna be in writing, a physical test, and when I say in writing, I don't mean they have to write anything. I'm not gonna do that, but it's written somewhere where you're certified. You did test. You didn't maybe help somebody test. You actually took your own test because it's every 2 years. Let's say they have to do it every 2 years, and if they don't, then they go on the inactive list. To me, inactive would mean you can say, I got my black belt. You can say that forever. I earned my black belt. But to be active, you can say, I am a black belt. So that's my differentiation. If you are a black belt, you're current with your training, you're current with your testing, and you're up to date. You are a black belt. If you're not, and you got your black belt 10 years ago and you've never done anything since, you can always say, well, I got my black belt, but in my eyes, you can't say you are a black belt unless you've proven it and you keep it going. As a fighter, you got to renew your license. As a trainer, you have to renew your license. As a referee, a timekeeper, and a judge, you have to redo your license. And that's usually every year. So, you know what I mean? And usually there's something that comes with it that shows some type of proficiency and evolution. So that I don't know why black belts don't do that more, why more schools don't do that, why there's so many black belts with their gut hanging over and they can't even run a mile. They could not jog a mile, but they're still considered, you know, an active black belt, and they're not. And I don't think they should be. Not if they're just because of the gut. I mean, look at Roy Big Country Williams. He has a big gut, but he can go 25 full on nonstop rounds. He's in the best shape of anyone. So, but I'm just using an example.
Okay, so around the world says, what about demotions with a special mark on the belt to show that you earned a black belt before? but you have lost. I guess you're trying. They ended it right. What about demotions? Putting a special mark on their belt to show that you earned a black belt before. What do you think about that?
I don't understand demotion.
I'm guessing they're talking about if they had let's say they have a black belt, but they're inactive. So now they're going to have like a different belt. When they come back into class, they're not going to be able to wear their black belt. They're going to be wearing something with a mark on it that says that represents that they need to re-earn that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they're already a demoted or not active, they have to call you, check on you, check with you, and you have to handle that and have them go back and get their continuing education, and proof of it before they do come back. So, I mean, I wouldn't put anything on their belt, but like if you do that, you'll you'll uh, you'll keep getting promoted. Okay, you'll just keep getting promoted. If you don't do that, not only will you not get promoted, but you'll be an inactive black belt. So I wouldn't expect you to be back at the gym. So that's every instructor. If their black belt comes in and I don't think they should wear a different color, be demoted or anything. Just tell them you want to keep training, bro. You gotta keep up on your continuing education. But to be honest, like that's the first step in continuing education is coming back to the gym, right?
Showing up, showing
Yeah.
up to class,
So
showing up to
yeah,
class.
so to me, if my guys show up in class, this is a non-issue. They don't have to go learn extra stuff if they don't want to. They can, and that'll help them. Like if they keep coming, they're active. But if they're not showing evolution, they're not grading up.
Okay. All right, that's
So
something
there's two
similar to what
different
I do
things
in my.
there. What
Yeah,
was that?
I don't have anything in writing, but I do not promote anyone. Like if they get their black belt, I don't promote past that unless they're active. So
Yeah,
that I mean, it's not in
right,
writing, but that's just what I do. So like,
right. Neither
if
do
you got
I.
your black belt and then you go off to you move out of town. People move, and if they're in the military, they get deployed or whatever. Um, oh yeah, actually, military is easier because if they're deployed, those people stay pretty active. So let's just talk about an average person.
Yeah,
They move out of town and they're working, and at the new place, wherever they ended up working, they're not continuing their training on their own. They're not teaching. They're not teaching anyone. They're not training themselves, or maybe if they are training, they're scattered training, but they're not really dedicating to anything. Then that person will just stay right there at that rank. And then when they come back, I make an announcement. This person's been inactive for a while, and they're back. And then I'll nudge one of my current active black belts to train with them and push them for, for being gone. So like I don't have anything in writing. There's a lot of unsaid stuff. All right, we have a lot of comments that just came in. David, say the person is active. Should they lose their black belt when they become disabled, or should we still hold the rank?
oh, that's. I mean, that's an easy one because I'll have disabled people getting their black belt. To me, every black belt's their own black belt. Where you have things that everyone has to do. There's also something called scaling. Like if I have a guy with one fucking arm, I'm not going to expect him to do the push-ups everyone else does, right? But that doesn't mean he's not going to be a black belt. Just like if I have a 70-year-old guy going for his black belt, he doesn't have to have the same black belt test that Chuck Liddell did. That doesn't mean he's not a black belt. So I have a couple people that have issues now with physical things. Then they're scaled. Their black belt is scaled. All their belt testing is skilled. Their workouts are skilled. If you can't move part of your body, I can never ask them to throw a right hook, right? So that's if somebody gets injured, then and they don't come anymore, then they're inactive. But if they do come, I scale what they got to do, and they're their best self.
Um, Zen Baron says when you were talking about the black belts that are inactive have their belly hanging over, their techniques are horrible. Followed by Flacker Flip saying, I feel like he's calling out Sensei Seagal, Steven Seagal. If someone thinks you're calling out Steven Seagal, At home tactical defense asks, what are your thoughts regarding a black belt who leaves one system and begins training in a new art?
I mean, is he in my system first or second?
We'll just assume that he's in your system first.
Okay, then he goes somewhere else. I mean, then that's irrelevant. If he's not still learning and training with me, right? He's not going to stay an active black belt with me. You know what I mean? But I mean, if he trained with both of us, that doesn't. I mean, then he can keep getting promoted by me and maybe promoted by someone else, and he's got a lot of free time and free, money.
All right. Around the world in 80 days, like voluntary moving down to brown belt. Oh, okay. So back to what you were asking. They asked this question earlier about the mark on the belt. You
Yeah,
kind of answered this already, but
yeah,
he said they were trying to say that if they did putting them if they voluntarily decide not to wear their black belt, put on a brown belt, and still allowed to wear a previous black belt mark on your brown belt. But like he mentioned earlier, he's not saying that you should be demoted because you took a break. Because the biggest issue, I think, if I'm understanding you correctly, the biggest issue is that you're not training. You
you're not
left.
training. You're not evolving. You're not learning,
Yeah.
right?
You're not well. You're not training. You're not even showing up to class. Like
But
you're
you'll
just
always have your black belt, just like if you go to medical school, you'll always have your degree. If you go to college, you become a cop, you'll always get the certificate. But if you don't continue learning it, you can't work at that anymore. So I'm saying you'll always have your black belt. You can always wear your black belt, but if you don't continue training and evolving, then you're not an active black belt. You can't work as a black belt, as far as I'm concerned, right? But you're never going to be taken away. That's yours. You earned it, but you can't. You're not active with me. You'll be
okay.
off my family, and you'll be on my family tree. You'll have a line through you
No,
if you're
that'll
not
and
active.
that's kind of like, well, I mean, that's not the same as what they're, but yeah, that's similar. You're making a statement, and then
Yeah,
they're gonna have to earn having that line removed. I'm guessing you renew your family tree every year, right? So that would mean that they would have to come back and stick around for at least a year to have that line removed so that they can get back to
yeah,
active
yeah,
status.
yeah. And to be honest, I'm not talking about that one, that family tree. I would call him for that stuff too, but I haven't gotten one for years. But we're making our own Godine Pit family tree. That's the
Yeah,
one.
that's the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one you make. The one you
Yeah,
make, you renew it. I'm guessing every year or every black
yeah,
belt test to add the new names, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Driver's license. Is he talking about driver's license?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian's saying, yep, like a driver's license expiring,
yeah.
right? Like the driver's license expiring, you got to go back in
And the same's
and
gonna
keep.
be. I'm gonna hold black belts to the same. The same level of education and progression. I mean, like I said, a nurse's aide has to do it. A nurse's aide is a very important job, but they, turn people and change diapers, and they have to renew their license. Why wouldn't a fucking black belt have to renew theirs? Keep training and evolve, and they don't think their martial art has evolved over the last year. I mean, I could say over 10 years, but martial arts is moving so quick with the with the UFC out there and MMA. Martial arts is evolving like crazy every single fucking year. It's different now. It's not the same anymore. It was the same and kind of stagnant for a long time. People would pick up little techniques in kickboxing, and little this and that for boxing and boxing, and I'm sure jujitsu and wrestling. But now with the way that MMA has made everything one, and martial arts is evolving and changing so much. If you're not on it right now all the time, you're just going to fall behind.
David M. Crew asks, "Is that the same program you had going back in 2010?" I could have my dates off, but my dad studied under Godin.
Okay, what now?
Is that the same program you had going back in 2010?
Yes.
So is the program you're running now the same as the one you were running in 2010? I guess that's the question.
Well, because all martial arts has evolved a lot, it's exactly the same, but it's completely different,
Okay,
right?
I guess that answers it.
It, yeah, it's exactly the same. I still yell "almost done" in the beginning of each class, and a lot of it's the same. Our traditions are the same, but a lot of the martial arts part, even the conditioning and the diet and the techniques, they've all evolved. So we're evolved with it, but it is the same. The pit is the pit.
Now, what if you have a black belt that moves and goes and starts their own program? Are they considered and they're training, but they're not training with you because they moved. They're not. They're out of state. They're running their own. Let's say they're running their own pit program, for
Yeah.
example.
Okay.
Do you expect that person to come back to you to retest,
No.
or is the
No.
work that they're doing out there under? Does it what's the word I'm looking for? Does it fit the qualifications that you set forth for your black belts?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I have a pit affiliate in Idaho, right? And Sophie and Cruz. Cruz is an ex-fighter. I think he fought in WEC and some of the other high-level productions. He's not fighting anymore. He's also a black belt in Hawaiian Kempo. She's a black belt under him in Hawaiian Kempo. They're both, I think, black belts in Jiu-Jitsu. He is. Um, and he has a school. They have, actually, they run our apparel, pitmonsterapparel.com. Um, he doesn't have to come out and train with me. I don't have to check off anything. That would be I could do that. That I'm sure that's a little controlling for me, but I feel like I don't need to do that. I have a guy in Malibu. I know he's training and studying all the time, martial arts. He's my pit historian. We got Glover. What about Glover? I mean, geez, maybe I should make sure he's really training. Huh? I got I got Ramsey Ninja in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have a feeling they're evolving and training really hard. So no, they don't have to come to me, even though we do meet every November in Hawaii. For this, what I'm talking about right now, they meet all the standards for continuing education and keeping their black belt.
We have a okay. Oh boy, Lima. Wow, man, I'm really sorry, Lima. Wawai. I probably said that wrong. What is the philosophical qualification? What's the philosophical qualification for your that you have at the pit for your black belts? What would be a philosophical qualification that you would say is required? What kind of, I guess this could be broken down as what kind of mentality are you looking for your
Yeah,
black belt?
I, I don't think I demand any because I have a philosophy professor at college right now, and very long hair, hippy dippy, vegan and everything, right? And then I got Chuck Liddell. But yes, right there, I want all my black belts, whether you're a college professor, the sheriff of our county, a orthopedic surgeon, a MMA, UFC champion. I want everybody to be able to and willing to, you know, keep their lunch money. In other words, protect themselves and their family, but never abuse their martial arts and only fight for right. So that's the only philosophy. I don't really care about the others.
I think that answers that question. David says that's outstanding. Much aloha, aloha to you too. And he said what you just said. Don't let anyone take your lunch money. All right, we are getting close to the wrap up, folks. We have about under 5 minutes left. If any questions have not been answered, throw them out there now. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh,
Okay.
here comes one. Had to leave, had to leave the school I was training in because I was getting bullied by the instructor's daughter, and he wasn't teaching anything effective. All right. I don't know. I don't know if that was a
Okay.
question. Sounds more like a statement, but
Sounds like
okay.
a good plan to me. It seems like if I had, first of all, if I had some chick bullying me, I think you need to be training somewhere, wherever that is. Maybe not that school, but if you can be bullied by a female, then you should definitely not give up training. You should keep training.
Yeah,
Right. Well, that's good
definitely.
advice, right?
Yeah, it is. That is. You should keep training.
I mean,
You
I
should keep
wish
training.
this true story.
I am.
I
He
wish
says I am. I'm still training. Good. Good.
good.
We're glad to hear you're still training. That's
You
good.
need to get, yeah. If I ever, growing up, I think if I was getting bullied by chicks or females, I think my life would have been a lot different. It would have ended up in a much different place.
But we're assuming now that Zen's a guy. Maybe Zen's a girl. So Zen is the first name. It might be a girl. We don't know if it's a guy or a girl. But either way,
Either way,
if you're in a hostile environment and they're not showing you anything effective, then find another place to train at.
you need to
But don't
run away.
stop training.
You need
No,
to
I don't know if
run.
that's a no. No, I'm not a girl, or no, I'm not a boy. I don't know. I'm gonna assume I'm a dude. Okay, thank you, Zen.
Then
I appreciate.
you
Okay, Zen's
you
a
know
guy.
what?
All
You
right.
might be then. You might be, and I'm not a salesman, but you might be a good candidate for my online dojo.
Oh, nice plug-in.
And to get there, just go to the pit.tv and it says right there, more information, click here. And we will by the end of your training with, I guarantee you, you will never be bullied again by a male or a female.
There you go. So Zen, if you want to check out the pit, there's an online program. You can check it out. So every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we do lives. It was mentioned and hinted towards earlier in the beginning of this that we are considering doing a podcast.
And
Um,
and when we say podcast, that shouldn't affect you guys. Because I consider this a podcast. Before I came upstairs, I told my wife, "Babe, I'm going to be gone for a little while. I got to go do the podcast." So I consider this a podcast because we're two guys talking on a screen. Now we're not pulling out the audio and putting it on iTunes. Okay, not yet. Whether we do or not, that's we'll find that out later. We'll decide. But right now, we whatever we do in whatever platform, whether we're doing it as Zoom on YouTube, wherever it shows up, this going to be in this kind of format. We might have guests sometimes. We might be able to bring in video and show a previous fight, and then talk about how to, what they did right, what they did wrong, that kind of stuff. So we're looking to do that, but it's basically just two guys talking in a for a video. So, whatever you call or you consider uh, a podcast, this will just be the same kind of podcast, right?
yeah. So there's not going to be much of a change. We're still talking about continuing to do lives. So if all of you are enjoying these lives, we don't want to stop doing that either. So we're still talking about doing the lives, but we are considering doing a podcast as well.
Yeah.
If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions of what you want, throw it in the comments. We'd be more than happy to read your comments and accommodate
You
you.
know, you know what I'd like to do, because we got some more people watching right now. If you have any any suggestions for a topic that you want to see, whether that's a technique or something that's going on in the UFC you want to know about, or something that's martial arts you want to know about. I mean, our niche or niche. It doesn't. I don't know if it's niche or niche.
English is my second language. You're asking the wrong person.
Niche. Okay, so what that means, niche or niche,
I
means
think it's niche.
it,
Niche.
it could
Niche.
be. It means what is your specialty? Like my my best buddy is an orthopedic surgeon, so he's a doctor. So his broad his broad whatever specialty is medicine, right? But now he niches down that, so now he's not just a doctor, but he's an orthopedic surgeon. So that means he takes care of bones, muscles, ligaments, the skeletal system, right? And he does surgery on it. So he brings it down a little more. But he goes one step above. He specializes in knees and shoulders. So if you want to get your hip done, you will probably go to someone who focuses and specializes on hips. And if you want to get your shoulder done, you go to him. If you want to get your spine done, you go to a spinal specialist, orthopedic surgeon. But we're going to niche down, some of our stuff because martial arts is a broad topic. So we're mainly about martial arts. Now we niche it down a little bit. We got uh, Kaja Kempo, which is our specialty. That's our art. But we bring that into how does that look upon MMA, or mainly the UFC, MMA, and self-defense. So those are kind of, we kind of go in and out of those topics.
All right. And then we have a lot of suggestions coming in right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these and put them in our notes for future topics. So
Okay.
Grand Duke is talking about opinions on classic combat sports, and I'd like to see defense on double leg takedowns. It would be rad hearing about the four branches of Kaju
Okay.
Kembo.
Before you go
How
any further,
yeah.
if you want to see, I got a whole course out on defending the takedown.
Okay, so right now we can, for around the world in 80 days, there's already a whole course on how to defend against double leg takedown that you can find.
Just takedowns and double leg.
Just takedown.
Double leg
The
is
whole
included. Okay.
double legs. Where is that?
Go to the pit.tv.
The pit.tv. There it is. I'll put it right here.
Bing.
The pit.
Or
TV.
we could do a video. We could do a video if we start doing it where we open a door. Then we show how somebody does it in the UFC, and then we
Yeah,
show that technique. And that's UFC sensei, right?
yeah. I think that would be. I think that's a good one. So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do though is I'm going to grab some of these topics. I'm going to copy and paste them and
Or
put them in my notebook so
okay.
that as we
I can
as we make other videos, we're gonna grab these topics and then we're gonna come back to them and make more videos, either lives or some of the projects that we're working on. I still have my wraps on because I'm in the middle of my workout.
All right.
So
For you guys out there, this is what I want to see. I want to see all you guys. I want to see your best left hook. All right. Either it's on a paddle, somebody holding a paddle, or a heavy bag or a bob. But I want you to be hitting something showing me your best left hook. And the best one, we're gonna decide which one is the best one, and you're gonna get a picture.
Oh, so
Okay?
they can submit the video to Paul.
You know what? Okay, you got one? I got an idea. What's your
I can
idea?
tell the. Oh yeah, I was gonna give him the link to the Pit Kaju Kembo Hana page on Facebook. Unless you have a different place you want to find that.
That's the best right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna copy, Command C. All right, everyone. So if you're watching this live, Command V. Boom. That page right there, Facebook.com. That's gonna be the group. If you want to send your best hook, send it there. And the best left hook will win. Someone asked last week too. Where can I get a Pit Hawaiian Kempo T-shirt?
Win the thing. We'll send you one.
Yeah, you can win it for free if your left hook is good enough.
Okay, guess what? The time limit is, this is going to be, you need to hurry up with this because you have to have the video in by the time we do our next video next week.
Oh, that's a deadline.
That's a deadline.
Hold on a second. Deadline for free pit T-shirt
5 p.m.
is
Pacific time.
I check my calendar here. It's going to be August 23rd, 22nd, because we release on the 23rd, so we have to look at them before then. So 22nd, August 22nd, August 22nd is August 22nd is August 22nd. Boom. And then what I'll do from is I'll grab the I'll announce that on the pit page too, so that people know that they can send that in.
Okay, I'll put it out there too. Send me that link and I'm gonna put it on my Instagram.
All right, I'll send that over to you on your messenger, on Facebook Messenger. I'll send that to you.
Or yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Or I can send it on Hangouts. Once we're off the thing, I can send it to you on your phone, so
Okay.
you have an easy link to the.
Got it. Any other questions, guys, before we go? We're here for you, man.
Just thanks, and that's it. Yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. All right, guys.
All right. Catch y'all next time. Next week, Wednesday, Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m.
Send us your left hook videos. Thing. Oh wait, if you're a southpaw, your right hook is the left hook. So
yes.
when I say left hook, everything I say, every time I say left hook, I mean lead hand hook.
There
I didn't say left hook. So I don't go lead hand hook.
Yeah.
Lead hand.
Yeah, because Orthodox is here Orthodox is here. I'd be here. So and hide your cock. If you haven't seen the video, hide your cock. It's out. It's about throwing a left hook. Get your mind out of the gutter, folks. It's about
hide your cock.
Yes, not cocking back your punch. All right. See y'all next time.
See you guys.
Later.
Later.